Aliens made first contact, then realized humanity was the galaxy's supreme force. HFY Sci-fi. The Martian sky was a burnt orange, dust swirling in lazy spirals across the horizon. In the distance, the twin moons, Phobos and Deimos, hung low, casting silver streaks across the red sands. Among these vast plains of Martian desert, a small frontier town clung to life, a place where the old world met the new, and where humanity's strange mixture of grit and curiosity thrived. This was Dustridge Station, a settlement built from steel and salvaged wood, a mix of space-age technology and Old West charm. Solar panels hung from wooden beams like patchwork quilts, wind turbines creaked in the wind, and robotic horses clopped along the dusty roads. Merchants sold glowing fruits from earth orchards, and kids raced hoverbikes along narrow alleyways. It was a town where every stranger was greeted with a nod, and every arrival was a story waiting to unfold. Captain Layla Reyes adjusted the wide-brimmed hat perched on her head and squinted at the horizon. Her boots kicked up red dust as she walked toward the landing pad. Lila was tall, with a lean, athletic build, a confident gait, and a grin that suggested she liked trouble, or at least liked facing it. Her eyes, a piercing shade of green, scanned the sky carefully. Piloting starships was her life, but something about today felt different. Something in the wind, or perhaps the quiet hum of the desert, hinted that the ordinary routine of Dustridge was about to change forever. At first it was just a bright dot, flickering like a distant star. Then it grew, pulling the attention of every townsfolk. Children paused mid-race, merchants froze mid-sail, and even the robotic horses tilted their heads in curiosity. The dot expanded into a shape no human had ever seen before, sleek, translucent ships that shimmered with colors that didn't exist on Earth. "They're here," Lila whispered, a mixture of awe and cautious anticipation in her voice. The ships descended slowly, as though the Martian atmosphere itself was holding them back. The townspeople gathered on the main street, mouths open in disbelief. Dust and light swirled together as the ships touched the ground, hovering just above the sandy surface. Then, with a soft hum that vibrated in the chest, the ships settled and doors opened. From each ship, figures emerged. They were taller than humans, with smooth, iridescent skin that reflected the Martian sun. Their eyes were large and black, holding a strange intelligence that seemed to pierce right through the crowd. They moved gracefully, almost floating, their movements deliberate and careful, as if they were studying every tiny detail around them. Lila took a step forward, her hand brushing the grip of her holstered tool, more a multi-purpose gadget than a weapon. She wanted to appear calm, confident, and welcoming. It was the first rule of human frontier diplomacy. Strangers might be friends or threats, but respect was the language everyone understood. The lead alien stopped a few feet away, raising a limb that glowed faintly. A strange sound emanated from it, like a mix of wind chimes and a soft humming instrument. Then a translator device on Lila's wrist buzzed to life, converting the alien's tones into speech. "Humans, we come in curiosity. We wish to learn." Lila nodded slowly, her green eyes fixed on the alien. "Then you've come to the right place," she said, voice steady. "Name's Lila Reyes. Welcome to Dustridge Station." The alien tilted its head, observing her in a way that made Lila feel both exposed and understood. Its gaze shifted to the crowd. "You appear primitive, yet confident. You defy expectation." A ripple of laughter spread through the townspeople. Lila smiled. "We've been called worse," she said, shrugging. "But you'll find we get things done. In our own way." The alien's translator clicked as it processed her words. Then it extended a limb and made a series of complex gestures. A holographic projection sprang to life in the air between them, showing strange star maps, unknown planets, and patterns of cosmic energy. The aliens weren't just visitors. They were explorers, travelers, and scholars. They were here to study humanity, but with caution and curiosity. One of the townspeople, a young boy named Jory, stepped forward with his hoverbike helmet under his arm. Are they going to take us to their planet?" he asked, eyes wide with excitement. Lila crouched down to his level. "Not unless we say yes," she explained gently. "Right now, they're just visitors.
We watch.
And we show them what humans can do." The aliens watched humans closely, analyzing their movements, reactions, and expressions. Lila led a small demonstration guiding a team of townsfolk to herd robotic livestock across the sandy plains. It was an ordinary task for Dustridge, but the aliens studied it like it was a complex ritual. The animals moved in intricate patterns, responding to whistles, gestures, and even a few clever gadgets the humans had built from scrap. One alien scientist, smaller and more delicate than the rest, floated closer. It extended a finger to the ground, and a soft pulse of energy made a single robotic cow spin in place midair. The humans laughed, adjusting their herding techniques with ease. The alien tilted its head. Its translator buzzed. They react with speed and creativity. Unexpected. Lila grinned. We always find a way. That's how we survive out here. The lead alien stepped closer to Lila. We studied war, power, conquest. We expected weakness. Yet humans adapt. Overcome. You are unlike any species we have encountered. That's us, Lila said lightly, tipping her hat. We don't look fancy. We don't have perfect technology, but we make do. And sometimes we make history. The aliens exchanged a series of quiet clicks and hums. They had traversed galaxies, studied thousands of civilizations, and believed themselves capable of evaluating a species' strength with precision. Yet here, on a dusty Martian frontier, they were challenged by a species that defied their calculations, not with force, but with ingenuity, courage, and unshakable confidence. A sudden gust of wind kicked up, throwing red dust into the air. Lila laughed, brushing it off her shoulders. You'll get used to it, she said. Martian dust has a way of finding you, no matter where you hide. The aliens seemed intrigued by this humor, as if it were an unknown form of strength. One of them extended a small device projecting holographic images of distant galaxies. The humans leaned closer, curious despite themselves. They had never seen anything like it, yet they approached with the same frontier spirit that had carried them from Earth to Mars, and now to the edge of the stars. Lila walked among the humans, making sure everyone stayed calm, engaged, and curious. She knew that first impressions mattered, and humanity's reputation depended on showing who they were: clever, adaptable, and courageous. The aliens were learning quickly. Every laugh, every clever adjustment, every creative solution was a lesson they had not expected to find. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the Martian desert, the alien fleet commander spoke again. We misjudged. Humans, dangerous in unusual ways.
Lila raised an eyebrow.
Dangerous? She asked, smirking. You haven't seen anything yet. The alien's translator buzzed, hesitated, then concluded. We will observe further. We wish to understand. The humans cheered quietly among themselves. They had survived countless challenges on Earth and Mars, and now they were facing a species from beyond the stars. Not with weapons, not with force, but with wit, ingenuity, and spirit. The frontier had expanded, and the stars themselves were no longer distant. They were a playground, a test, and a stage. And somewhere in the shimmering alien ships, sensors and minds recorded every detail, every laugh, every clever human move. The aliens had come to study, perhaps to dominate, perhaps to warn, but they were beginning to realize something extraordinary. Humans were not merely another species. They were wild, untamed, and, in ways that machines could not measure, supremely capable. As night fell over Dustridge Station, the stars sparkled above like scattered diamonds. Lila mounted her robotic horse and looked toward the horizon, feeling the thrill that had drawn humans to the frontier for centuries. The thrill of the unknown, the promise of adventure, and the knowledge that humanity's story was far from ordinary. The aliens had arrived, and the game had just begun. The sun had risen over the Martian plains, painting Dustridge Station in shades of gold and red. Dust swirled gently across the streets as humans and aliens alike adjusted to the unusual peace that had settled over the frontier town. For Lila Reyes, mornings were always busy, but this morning carried a strange energy. The aliens were still present, their shimmering ships parked neatly at the edge of town, and curiosity buzzed in the air like a living thing. Lila adjusted her wide-brimmed hat, the edges of which had frayed from years of travel across deserts, moons, and asteroid belts. Her boots crunched against the red sand as she approached the central square. Townsfolk had gathered already, curious about what humans would show the aliens today. A mix of children, traders, engineers, and even robotic horses filled the square, ready for whatever came next. "Morning, Captain," called Jory, the young boy with bright eyes from yesterday. "Are they going to try anything today?" Lila smiled, crouching to his level. "They're not here to fight, little one. They're here to learn. But don't let them think we're easy to figure out." Jory grinned. "Got it." He sprinted off toward a group of kids racing hoverbikes along the edges of the square. Lila turned her gaze to the alien ships, which now seemed more curious than threatening. The aliens moved gracefully around their landing pads, studying every detail of the town. Their sensors scanned buildings, animals, vehicles, and even the way humans interacted with each other. It was clear they expected to find weakness, but every observation seemed to challenge their expectations. Lead alien approached Lila, floating slightly above the ground, its movements precise and deliberate. Humans, yesterday, showed adaptation, cleverness beyond expectation. Yet technology appears limited. That's the trick, Lila replied with a grin. We don't always have the fanciest gadgets, but we make what we have work, and sometimes make it better. Another alien, smaller and more delicate, hovered close to the robotic livestock at the edge of the square. It reached out a finger, causing a robotic cow to rise into the air and spin slowly. The townsfolk gasped, but instead of panic, laughter broke out. Farmers and herders quickly adjusted their routines, guiding the spinning cow with clever magnetic lasso techniques. The aliens tilted their heads. Their translator devices struggled to capture the human humor and quick improvisation. Reaction unexpected, one of them said softly. Rapid adaptation, surprising. Analysis, incomplete. Lila shrugged lightly. We've got a saying in Dustridge. The dust doesn't wait, so neither do we. The alien sensors whirred quietly, trying to interpret the meaning of her words. It was more than literal. They sensed confidence, creativity, and a sense of joy in overcoming obstacles. The lead alien spoke again, its tone deliberate. Observation continues. Humans capable of feats we did not calculate. We must test further. Lila raised an eyebrow. Test, huh? All right, then. Let's see what you've got. By mid-morning, the aliens had set up a demonstration. Holographic projections shimmered in the air, showing abstract patterns of light and energy. The aliens moved their limbs, and the projections shifted, creating complex obstacle courses, puzzles, and simulations of environmental challenges. It was an invitation, or perhaps a challenge, for humans to prove themselves in... The townsfolk exchanged excited glances. Lila clapped her hands. All right, team. Let's show them what humans can do. Remember, creativity beats raw power any day. The first challenge involved guiding holographic energy orbs through a maze of shifting walls. Humans had no idea of the aliens' intended method, so they improvised. Jory used a hoverbike to nudge one orb, while an older engineer rigged a simple pulley system to redirect another. Lila guided a group of herders to use ropes and magnetic pulses to move additional orbs. The aliens observed in silence, their large black eyes widening as humans turned confusion into clever solutions. One orb, spinning wildly in the air, was suddenly caught and balanced by a robotic horse, which nudged it into the correct path with a soft mechanical whinny. The lead alien floated closer, its translator buzzing. Unexpected, ingenuity, rapid comprehension. Humans unpredictable. Lila laughed. We've got a saying. If it can't be done, find a way to do it anyway. The aliens projected another challenge. A simulated meteor storm, with moving holographic obstacles that threatened to collide with the participants' orbs. Humans scattered, ducked, leapt, and collaborated. They built temporary ramps, used magnets, and even manipulated gravity in small controlled fields they had rigged from scrap tech. Every movement was a dance of adaptation, teamwork, and clever thinking. The aliens tilted their heads, recording every detail. Their initial expectation that humans would struggle with precision, strategy, and teamwork was shattered. The humans solved the holographic meteor storm with a combination of improvisation and instinctive coordination, leaving the aliens both baffled and impressed. One alien scientist, smaller than the others, spoke softly. Observation indicates humans learn fast. Risk minimal. Creativity high. Probability of underestimation, error. Lila wiped sweat from her brow, her grin widening. Underestimating us is a mistake every new visitor makes. First time, second time, maybe third time too, if they're stubborn. As the day progressed, humans continued to challenge the alien simulations in unexpected ways. They turned abstract holographic mazes into simple paths using creative physics hacks, they navigated moving obstacles with teamwork, and they negotiated the simulations in ways the aliens had never imagined. The aliens began to whisper among themselves, their clicks and hums full of confusion and wonder. The townsfolk noticed the aliens' reactions. They're learning too, Jory said, eyes wide. Or maybe they're not used to losing control. Lila nodded thoughtfully. Exactly. They expect order, patterns, and obedience. What they don't understand is humans thrive in chaos. We find solutions when nothing seems possible. That's our frontier spirit. In the late afternoon, Lila led the humans to the edge of town for one final demonstration, a test of reflex, adaptability, and daring. A series of floating platforms had been projected above the desert, moving unpredictably. Humans were to jump from platform to platform while managing holographic energy spheres. The aliens expected hesitation or mistakes. Instead, humans leapt, flipped, and manipulated the spheres with quick thinking and coordination. A farmer rigged a pulley to move multiple spheres simultaneously. Jory used a rope to swing himself to a distant platform. Lila herself performed a daring maneuver, guiding 2 spheres at once while jumping across 3 platforms in a single bound. The aliens observed in silence, and then one whispered into the translator, "Humans, mastery of unpredictability. Beyond expectation, dangerous in unusual ways." The town erupted in quiet celebration. Humans had not only met the aliens' challenge, they had turned it into a display of creativity, courage, and cooperation. It was not about winning or losing. It was about showing the aliens the true essence of humanity. As the Martian sun dipped low, painting long shadows across the desert, Lila walked back toward the town center. The aliens had retreated to their ships, but their eyes, large, black, and filled with curiosity, watched every movement of the humans. "They're learning fast," she said softly, almost to herself. "But the real question is whether they understand us yet." A hush fell over the town as the aliens projected one final image, a glowing map of the galaxy, dotted with countless stars and strange worlds. The humans studied it, marveling at the possibilities. The aliens were offering knowledge, not domination, yet their presence carried a quiet tension, a sense that the universe was larger and more unpredictable than anyone had imagined. The lead alien approached Lila, its translator buzzing softly. "Observation continues. Humans, exceptional. Adaptation, remarkable. Creativity, beyond expectation. We underestimated you." Lila tipped her hat and smiled. "You're not the first to do that, won't be the last." As night fell over Dustridge Station, the stars above twinkled brighter than ever. Humans and aliens alike paused to marvel at the vast expanse of the universe, each aware that this was only the beginning of a long and curious journey. The aliens had come to study humans. They expected to see a species that could be easily categorized, perhaps even controlled. Instead, they had discovered unpredictability, ingenuity, and courage, qualities that no amount of technology could fully measure. Lila mounted her robotic horse and gazed at the horizon. The Martian wind whispered across the desert, carrying the scent of adventure, of challenges yet to come, and of a universe waiting to be explored. "We're just getting started," she whispered, a spark of excitement in her eyes. "And the stars? Well, they've got a lot to learn from us yet." The next morning dawned crisp and clear over Dustridge Station. The Martian plains glowed gold, the twin moons faintly visible in the sky. Lila Reyes mounted her robotic horse outside the town center, her eyes scanning the horizon. Today was different. The aliens had issued a challenge, a test of skill, as their translator called it. Lila had a feeling this would be the most unusual day in her life. The aliens' ships floated above the desert, projecting enormous holographic grids into the air. They were more elaborate than anything humans had seen before. Twisting obstacle courses, floating platforms, swirling energy orbs, and streams of moving light that formed complex patterns. The humans were to navigate, manipulate, and solve each sequence of challenges. Lila turned to the townsfolk who had gathered. Farmers, engineers, children, and even robotic animals were ready. "All right, team," she said, adjusting her hat. "This isn't about strength. It's about brains, creativity, and teamwork. Remember, they may have tech, but we have heart. And ingenuity." The aliens floated closer. The lead alien's large black eyes scanned the humans, flicking over each individual with precise calculation. Humans, unpredictable. Observation indicates adaptability. Probability, unknown. Challenge will determine capacity. With a low hum, the aliens activated the first test. A series of floating platforms rose into the air, shifting unpredictably. On each platform hovered a glowing orb, and each orb contained encoded information the humans were to retrieve. The holographic light created twisting patterns in the sky, and the challenge seemed impossible at first glance. Lila smiled. Impossible is just another word for untried. Let's go. The townsfolk sprang into action. Children zipped across platforms on hoverbikes, scooping orbs with magnetic nets. Farmers used ropes and pulleys to swing across gaps. Engineers activated small drones to guide the orbs safely. Lila herself leapt from platform to platform, grabbing 2 orbs at once, balancing with her robotic horse hovering below for support. The aliens watched in amazement. Their translator buzzed as they tried to describe it. Humans, coordination, exceptional, rapid problem-solving, DIS, unpredictable execution. By mid-morning, the humans had collected most of the orbs, often solving the challenges in ways the aliens had never expected. One clever farmer rigged a rope system that redirected a moving platform, allowing multiple humans to cross safely. Jory, the young boy, discovered that by tapping the energy patterns in the holographic grid, he could make platforms pause briefly, giving everyone time to adjust. The aliens studied every movement, their large black eyes widening. The initial assumption that humans were chaotic and weak was falling apart. Humans thrived in unpredictability. They adapted, learned, and even found joy in the challenge. The next challenge appeared, a holographic asteroid field, spinning rapidly above the desert. Humans were tasked with moving energy orbs through the field without dropping them.
Lila observed the spinning obstacles and grinned.
"Looks like a rodeo," she said. "Let's ride." Teams split up to navigate the spinning holograms. Engineers rigged magnetic fields to guide orbs safely. Children ran along the edges, using gravity boots to leap and dodge obstacles. Farmers tied ropes to nearby drones, swinging orbs past spinning hazards. Lila used timing and intuition, letting the motion of the field guide her movements. Every solution was different, but all worked. The lead alien floated closer, its translator buzzing rapidly. Observation, humans' mastery of chaos, unexpected, adaptation rapid. By afternoon, the final challenge was projected. A massive holographic canyon stretched across the desert. Bridges, platforms, and shifting light beams formed a path from one side to the other. Humans were to transport energy orbs while keeping the structures stable. It was the most complex test yet. Lila took a deep breath. Remember, everyone, think creatively, communicate clearly, and don't be afraid to improvise. The canyon isn't going to solve itself. Humans began coordinating in ways that amazed even themselves. Engineers anchored floating platforms with magnetics, farmers balanced orbs on ropes, and children ran signals from one end to the other. Lila guided the team like a conductor, directing them with a mixture of gestures, whistles, and quick commands. As the humans worked, the aliens recorded every detail, buzzing among themselves. Analysis incomplete. Humans' logic cannot predict. Solution novel. Dangerous in unusual ways. Finally, with one coordinated push, the humans moved the last orb across the canyon. The structures stabilized perfectly, platforms aligned, and the challenge was completed. The townsfolk cheered, laughing, high-fiving, and clapping. The aliens, silent for a moment, then tilted their heads in a gesture that might have been respect. The lead alien spoke, its voice calm but amazed. Humans, exceptional, creativity, teamwork, courage, unexpected. Observation, continues. Conclusion, humans, remarkable. Lila tipped her hat. We told you. Humans don't just survive the frontier, we make it ours. One small alien floated closer to Lila. Your species' strength, not measured by technology, but by spirit, intelligence, courage, adaptability, creativity. Humans' unusual dominant potential, unparalleled. Lila smiled. I guess that makes us the galaxy's kind of cowboy, huh? The aliens tilted their heads, trying to understand the humor. Lila laughed. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the Martian plains, humans and aliens alike paused to admire the vast horizon. The challenge was over, but a quiet tension remained. Humans had proven their skill, but the universe was large, full of unknowns and full of surprises. Lila climbed her robotic horse and looked up at the shimmering alien ships. They came to test us, and they learned something they weren't expecting. And we're just getting started. Somewhere deep in the ships, sensors recorded every movement, calculation, and improvisation. The aliens had come to evaluate human strength. Instead, they had discovered a species that thrived in chaos, solved impossible problems with creativity, and faced challenges with courage and humor. Humans had not only passed the test, they had redefined it. The Martian night descended, stars glittering like diamonds above. Lila whispered to herself, "Tomorrow will be even more interesting. Let's see what the stars throw at us next." The morning air over Dustridge Station carried a gentle chill, unusual for the Martian plains. Lila Reyes sat atop her robotic horse, scanning the horizon where the alien ship still hovered, quiet and almost contemplative. The humans of Dustridge were buzzing with energy, sharing stories from the previous day's challenges. Everyone had participated, young and old, engineers and farmers. Even the robotic animals had played a part. Lila adjusted her hat and smiled. "All right, team," she called. "We've shown them what we can do. Now let's see what they've learned." The aliens descended slightly, their ships casting long shadows across the desert. The lead alien's translator activated. Humans, remarkable. Observation complete. Understanding of potential, extraordinary. We acknowledge your capability and spirit. A ripple of excitement passed through the crowd. Humans had faced the unknown, adapted, and impressed, a species that had traveled countless galaxies. Yet, Lila knew this was only the beginning. Knowledge was power, and now humans and aliens alike had lessons to share. Over the next few hours, the aliens and humans exchanged information. Holographic star maps displayed distant planets and unexplored regions. Alien tools and machines were demonstrated and understood. In return, humans showed their ingenuity, how simple machines could be repurposed to solve complex problems, how teamwork could accomplish impossible tasks, and how humor and adaptability could overcome fear and uncertainty. Jory bounced in excitement. "Captain Lila, we're teaching them about ropes and pulleys, and they're teaching us about galaxies. Isn't this amazing?" Lila laughed. "It's the frontier way, kid. We share, we learn, we grow. And today, the frontier isn't just Mars. It's the whole universe." The aliens began experimenting with human creativity. One scientist tried herding robotic livestock using a magnetic lasso, and after several failed attempts succeeded with the guidance of a smiling farmer. Another used a makeshift pulley to navigate the floating platforms. Laughter and joy echoed across the Martian desert. By mid-afternoon, the alien fleet gathered. The lead alien addressed the humans. "Your species unlike any other. Strength, not merely measured by power or speed, but by imagination, courage, spirit. You inspire and challenge our understanding of potential. We wish to continue partnership and exploration." Lila nodded, her eyes bright. "And we welcome it. The universe is big, full of unknowns. But if we ride it together, there's nothing we can't discover." The townsfolk cheered. Dustridge Station had become a legend among humans and aliens alike. Visitors would come from across the galaxy, eager to witness humanity's cleverness, humor, and courage. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting orange and pink hues across the Martian desert, Lila mounted her robotic horse and rode to the edge of town. The stars sparkled above, bright and infinite, and the wind carried the scent of adventure. The lead alien floated down beside her, its glowing limbs reflecting the sunset. Humans' future limitless. "We grateful for your guidance, example, and courage." Lila smiled, tipping her hat. "The frontier isn't just a place, it's a way of life. And the universe, well, it's ours to explore." Night settled over Dustridge Station. Humans and aliens alike gazed at the stars, contemplating possibilities. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and adventures. Humanity had proven itself not through force, but through ingenuity, spirit, and heart. Lila kicked her robotic horse lightly. "Let's ride," she whispered. The wind carried her words across the plains, as if the desert itself was encouraging the next adventure. Above, alien ships shimmered softly, recording and learning. The humans of Dustridge had not only passed the test, they had redefined it. They had shown that courage, imagination, and teamwork were stronger than technology alone. Somewhere, deep in the stars, other civilizations might take notice. But for now, Dustridge Station glowed under the twin moons, a beacon of human creativity, laughter, and adventure. And as Lila gazed up at the infinite sky, she knew the journey had only begun. "We ride," she said softly. "And the stars, they've got a lot to learn from us yet."